In the world of international cricket, this was something else. It was like a ghost story. You've got a top-tier team, a massive global tournament, and then, poof, they're just gone. We're going to break down one of the most unbelievable stories to hit the sport in years, Bangladesh's vanishing act from the T20 World Cup.
I mean, that's the real question here, isn't it? How does this even happen? We're not talking about forfeiting a single match. We're talking about a whole nation, with one of the most passionate fan bases on the planet, being completely erased from the biggest T20 event of the year just weeks before it was all supposed to kick off. Seriously, how on earth does that happen?
All right, so first things first. Let's just establish how absolutely unprecedented this was. To really get the fallout, you have to understand the sheer shock of the event itself. Here are the cold, hard facts. The Bangladesh Cricket Board officially pulled its team from the 2026 T20 World Cup, and in a mad scramble, the ICC had to name Scotland, the highest-ranked team that hadn't qualified, as a last-minute replacement. All of this went down right on the doorstep of the tournament. The timing couldn't have been worse.
Now here's what makes this so stunning. It's the history. Bangladesh had been a constant at this tournament. I mean, they'd appeared in every single men's T20 World Cup since the very first one, back in 2007. That's 9 tournaments in a row. So this decision didn't just break a streak, it completely shattered a legacy.
So what was the official reason for a move this drastic? Well, the story they put out there points to a kind of diplomatic deadlock, a standoff between the team's board and the sport's main governing body.
Okay, so on one side you've got the Bangladesh Cricket Board, the BCB. They came out citing security concerns and flat out refused to play any of their group matches that were scheduled in India. They even asked to have their entire schedule moved to Sri Lanka. But on the other side, you have the International Cricket Council, the ICC. They said, hold on, ran their own independent security checks, and basically came back saying there was no credible threat. They refused to move the matches, and boom, a total impasse. Bangladesh blinked first and just walked away. But you know how these things go, right? The official story is one thing, but it might not be the whole story. Behind the scenes, a very different narrative started bubbling up, one that smells a lot more like politics than safety. And it sounds like the players, the guys who had trained their whole lives for this, were kept completely in the dark. A Bangladeshi cricketer who had to speak anonymously revealed the decision came straight from the top. He said, they didn't ask, they made the plan directly. The government call was already made. Just like that, the players were left totally helpless. Yeah, this whole situation seems to be about way more than just cricket. The rumor mill says the withdrawal was a direct government order. Many people think it was straight-up retaliation because their star bowler, Mustafizur Rahman, had just been barred from playing in the super lucrative Indian Premier League. And, wouldn't you know it, with a general election scheduled for February 12th, some analysts see this as a classic political maneuver to fire up nationalist sentiment right before the vote.
So, with their World Cup dreams absolutely destroyed and their players left with nothing to do, the BCB had to act fast. They went into full-on damage control mode. And their solution? Well, it was to create a brand new tournament out of thin air.
They quickly announced the Odomo Bangladesh T2026, a new domestic competition that was, conveniently, designed to run at the exact same time as the actual World Cup. This thing was thrown together super fast. It only had 3 teams, and it was pretty obviously just an attempt to keep the players busy and maybe offer a little financial compensation. They put up a prize pool of 2.5 crore taka. Look, that's a respectable amount of money, for sure, but let's be real. It's a world away from the prestige, the exposure, and the payday of a World Cup. And that brings us to the real cost of this decision, because while the players lost a dream, the board itself is now facing what you might call financial Armageddon. First up, the big one. By pulling out of the tournament, the BCB is set to lose its entire annual revenue share from the ICC, and that is a staggering hit of approximately $27 million US. Just gone. And believe it or not, it gets worse. When you start factoring in all the other losses, from things like broadcast deals and sponsorships that are now in jeopardy, that single decision could end up wiping out 60% of the board's entire annual income. That's not just a dent, it's a catastrophic blow. Oh, and just to add a little insult to injury, they're also facing penalties. The ICC could slap them with an additional fine of up to $2 million because they withdrew without what the ICC considers a valid justification. So on top of losing all that money, they might have to pay millions more. But the financial bleeding doesn't even stop there. This is a ripple effect. A super lucrative tour by India, which brings in huge TV rights money, almost certainly canceled now. Major sports brands are reportedly rethinking their sponsorship deals with the players themselves. And maybe worst of all, the players lose that priceless global stage to showcase their talent, which hurts their careers and their bank accounts for years to come.
So you look at this whole mess, right? It involves governments, cricket boards, and high-stakes political games. But when it all shakes out, who's really paying the price? It's the players who lose their dream and the millions of fans who lose their team. It's a pretty stark reminder of what happens when the game we all love gets caught in a game of power.